Hello friends, so how are you? Hope you have revised all the topics of this ray optics and optical instrument. So what we decided that today onwards, because we completed the discussion of the entire topic, that theoretical aspect, just to start the discussion of certain questions, fine. So that way you can start revising and also learning how to tackle the problems. So students, this process is going to be a continuous process, fine. Sometime we will come up with like 5 questions, then after that 5 to 10 questions and so on so forth. Now, one thing I would like to mention over here that this is for JEE advanced pattern. And as you know that in JEE advanced pattern, you are supposed to solve questions like only one option correct, more than one option correct, single integer type, matrix match, then paragraph. So these all type of questions. So what we will try to incorporate at least all type of questions one by one, fine. So let's start this discussion. And what exactly the objective with which we are moving, that first I will explain you the problem properly, then step by step solution, and over here because there is a limitation of the time, so obviously if all steps I am unable to mention, then all these solutions are going to be the part of your ebook, fine. So you can take a look of this detailed solution from there. Say for example, this question onwards, first I will explain the question, then only we will start the discussion. Here the approach is not number of questions, not at all. Here the approach is how you should start reading and understanding the problem, because you know JEE advanced pattern questions are really you can say slightly difficult questions, but as such they are not very difficult, but you have to try to read them in such a manner so that you can understand them. So let's start the discussion over here, fine. Wherever the diagram you are unable to understand, obviously I'll have to supplement. So the question is like this way: a fish is at some depth in a lake. Actually this entire is the setup of a lake, okay, and the fish is situated over here inside the lake, obviously in the water. Now it is at horizontal distance r is equal to 1.5 meter from the edge of the lake. It means just to explain this line, a simple diagram I am giving you. Let's say this is the width of the lake, fine. Now the fish may be anywhere, let's say at this point. Now this distance r is actually this horizontal distance, you can say the entire width of the lake, fine, because here it's only rays are visible, that's why I thought to give you the idea of the walls of this lake. Now if it is just able to see a tree on the edge, actually here this fish is performing an experiment of ray optics, fine. So whatever the fish is observing, we are trying to discuss that. So what is exactly the depth of the lake? Now you know there is a phenomena of optical path difference. It is like that if you take a beaker, glass beaker full of water, fine, and if you drop a small let's say a stone or anything, then obviously you will not able to see the exact location, because it is going to be changed. Why? The refractive index of water is different from air, fine. So its apparent depth is different to the actual depth, fine. So actually what exactly the depth that the fish will measure, that is something you have to find out. Now in this particular problem, actually almost all critical aspects has been explained just by giving this angle C. This angle C is nothing but a critical angle, fine. Try to recall the concept of critical angle that we discussed during the discussion of you can say this OFC, optical fiber cable, fine. So same type of concept we are going to utilize over here. Question is now to be present in front, and what I'll do, I'll use this space to explain you what exactly required, fine. Now, let me write down the simple formula. That formula is sin C, which is this C angle, critical angle. Fine. So, sin C is equal to 1 upon n. 1 upon n or 1 upon mu, that is something associated with the refractive index of this water. So, sin C is equal to 1 upon n. Now, actually, here I will jump 1 or 2 steps. Reason being, this distance is r and this distance is d. What I will do, I will consider this triangle, fine, d, r and then this distance. So, accordingly, using Pythagoras theorem, we will try to find out this distance. Obviously, it is going to be like, let us say x, so x square is equal to r square plus d square type of thing, fine. So, rather than mentioning that using Pythagoras theorem, I am directly writing the values, that is r, this horizontal distance, under root r square plus d square is equal to 1 upon n. What exactly we are trying to do? We are saying if angle C is small, critical angle, so you can say sin C is equal to C. This type of assumption we are quite comfortable with utilization. So, that is why I mentioned r upon r square plus d square is equal to 1 by n. Now, let us try to solve it. How? So, from here students, I can say Rn is equal to this way we can do 2 steps in one go, that is r square plus d square, no problem, square whole side and then put the values. So, now r square n square is equal to r square plus d square, fine. Or ultimately, let us try to arrange the term over here at this place. So, what exactly we will get? R square n square from here is equal to r square plus d square. Now, do one thing, pick this entire term, try to place it close to r square or opposite of that, fine. You have to ultimately arrange these terms, fine. So, let me write down finally, by arranging terms, fine. Ultimately, we have to find the value of d, this depth, apparent depth. So, by arranging terms, let us say 1 in equation 1, fine. Arranging means putting r term together and n term differently. And please do not forget, the value of n is 1.33 given in this particular question. I can make this question more difficult. How? Let us remove this. Let us remove this. And now you have to visualize a lot. I thought initially not to do that. Fine. So, that is why I placed the problem in a simple fashion. So, by arranging terms in equation number 1 and solving d is equal to 1.3 meters. Fine. So, as such the question is not difficult, okay. You have to simply apply the concept of the critical angle aspect. Students, for JEE Advanced, I would like to suggest all of you, repeatedly I am doing this, whenever you read the problem, just think and then apply your understanding of the concepts, fine, because you know it is well said about JEE Advanced exam, no question is going to be a repeated question, every time new question, fine. So, when I am representing the question, I am trying my best to make you comfortable with the problem. Let us move ahead, and obviously if few questions are difficult in this discussion, you should appreciate that. Reason being, you are preparing for IIT JEE Advanced exam, fine. So, difficulty is one of the most important aspect of this exam, can't help out. Now, let's come on to this question. Yes, slightly bigger one, and some sort of mathematics is also involved over here. I don't want to come between you and your question. I'll simply try to explain you just using this simple language. As shown in figure, a ray of light in air is incident at 30-degree angle on a medium and proceeds ahead in the medium. Okay. The refractive index of this medium varies with the distance y as given. Now, here let me use a red color chalk to show you something. The problem is this line. Okay. This medium is not isotropic. Okay. This is not isotropic medium. This medium is varying its refractive index. That's a problem. And how exactly? This equation. As you keep on moving inside this medium, refractive index is keep on changing. And actually in your JEE Advanced exam, many times they ask this type of questions. Fine. So, I thought it's better at least to introduce this concept to all of you. Otherwise, if let's say this is air, complete, and let's say this is glass, no problem. Refraction, ray will come, then as per the rule, rarer to denser, towards or away the normal, you can easily decide. But here, as the ray will keep on moving, it will deviate further and so on. Fine. And how exactly? That is 1.6 plus 0.2 centimeters upon y plus 1 centimeter. Now, over here you can say, sir, in this problem actually the examiner is just trying to make us fool. Why? Okay. Constant term, good. Constant term, very good. Constant term, but the problem is Mr. Y. They are a problem. Reason being, let's make it square. So, it's going to give you y square plus 1 plus twice y. That's a problem. Fine. So, we have to put our focus onto this aspect of variation of refractive index with distance. Now, what is the angle formed by the ray with the normal at a very large depth? See the beauty of this question. This line created a very difficult situation for you, and remaining this line at a very large depth. Imagine y is changing and refractive index is changing, and very large depth means after travelling a long distance inside this medium, how exactly this value angle is going to vary. Fine. What I'll do, I'll try my best to make this explanation as simple as possible. Very slowly, step by step, I will solve. Be the part of this explanation. I tried my best to explain you the problem by underlining two crucial aspects. Fine. Now, please just enjoy it. Don't afraid. If you are going to consider a question as a problem, you will suffer. Consider the question just to check your conceptual clarity. Fine. So, let's by using, now please just listen, by using which law right now coming in your mind for this particular situation? Just for a second think. Obviously, you will say by Snell's law. See, in ray optics, if you forget each and everything, no problem. Simply remember this Snell's law. For a reflection, for refraction, because everything will start from here, will end according to this law. Fine. So, this is the key of success of solving problems in ray optics. Snell's law, Snell's law, Snell's law. Fine. Let's try to mention it. Ny y is in suffix because it is showing the variation of refractive index with y, sin theta. That is, actually the actual formula is n1 sin theta 1 is equal to n2 sin theta 2, like that. Over here what I am writing, n1, no n1, ny, sin theta 1, yes, sin theta, actual value, then equal to c, and c is, let us say, any constant. Fine, don't get confused, it is not critical angle, it is any constant. Let us say equation number 1. Now, why I mentioned it like that? Reason being simple. This air has refractive index unity 1. Place it over here. Angle theta of incidence is going to fix, because once you decided that the ray should fall at 30-degree angle, so obviously it is not going to change. So rather than writing 1 into sin 30, then sin 30 means 1 by 2, then 1 into 1 by 2, simply say constant term. Fine, because in examination hall you also have to manage your time. Okay, so now ny sin theta is this much. Now there is one point O. So what I will write down, applying at point O. Fine, this origin point O. So applying at point O, O means NO. It means what? The ray just about to enter into the medium. It is just at the verge. We will check over here. After that we will start moving inside. So rather than y, it is going to be 0, and then the most difficult part, I hope you will appreciate it, that is 30 degrees. Fine, 30 degrees is equal to same constant c. Let us say this is equation number 2. If you wish, you can give it the name, no problem. So now general equation is this, specific equation is this, but who will come and help us? This person itself will come and help us. Reason being, at y place 0, 1.6 plus 0.2 and then this y plus 1. So, but at NO, fine, NO means what is the value of refractive index in general according to this equation. So let me allow to erase out this portion, and then I will explain you the required situation. Fine, and that is why I am trying to utilize the place nearly available to me with this question, so that every time the question is in front of your eyes. Fine. So, but at n naught is equal to how much? So, n naught is equal to this value 1.6 plus 0.2 upon the variation which I am going to use with a different value. What is the value of y over here? 0. 0 plus 1, that is why I am using this different color, 2 square. Fine. Obviously, you can get the value is equal to 1 by 0.2, that is 1.8. No problem. Simple value. Fine. Now, after getting this value, what I will have to do? The most difficult question, what is the value of sin 30? Lot of you will say, oh sir, come on. This is 1.8 upon 1 by 2, because the equation was n naught sin 30 is equal to a constant term c. So, now c is 0.9. Actually, before starting this discussion, I thought directly mention this equation, this value c is equal to 0.9. Then I realized 80% of you will jump. Will say what exactly this value is. That's why I took this much pain and this much steps. Fine. So ultimately now you can say the value of this constant is going to be 0.9. Why I am trying to do that? We are trying to do that because, students, we initially mentioned ny is equal to sine theta, ny into sine theta is equal to c. Ny changing according to the equation, sine theta is something we are eager to find out, and c value now we have. Fine. And you people are preparing for JEE advanced exams, so I hope you are very much comfortable with mathematics, more than that comfortable in physics and so on. Fine. So step by step if I am solving just for your understanding. So now c is equal to 0.9. Using more than this better explanation, I don't think you are going to get anywhere. Using this expression, fine, finally what I will get, sine theta is equal to nearly, I should use nearly 34 degrees. Here around 2 or 3 steps I jumped. Reason being, when the value of c is with you, simple trivial mathematical calculation you all can do. Fine. So the value of sine theta is nearly 34 degrees. So yes, you can say B is the correct option, because 67, 14, 25 obviously not matching. Actually the value you will get something like 34 degrees, few minutes, few seconds. So closest correct option is B. Fine. This was slightly bigger question, so we devoted some good amount of time over here to understand it. But my simple request and suggestion, very, very important aspect, please learn it. Fine, because if you just go back to the previous year's question papers of JEE Advanced, you will find these type of problems. They don't use to ask simple questions. Fine. Ultimately, you want to become a world-class engineer by just studying topics in IIT. So at least you should prove your mettle. That is at most important. Fine. And at any point of time, if things are not, one more very important thing, if at any point of time you are unable to understand all these things, never ever attempt any wrong question. Attempt only 30%, but correct attempt. Fine. Here comes the next problem. Now this problem is a very simple one. How? Let's try to understand. Actually it is a repetition of you can say question number 1 in a different mode. There the fish was doing something for us. Here we are trying to do ourselves something. What exactly that? Let's try to understand the problem. A beaker contains water up to a height h1. Let's say this is a beaker, imagine, and it has water up to some height. I'll draw the diagram, don't worry. After that, oil above the water of another height h1, let's say this height. Fine. Find the apparent shift in the position of the bottom of the beaker when viewed from above. It means, let's say this is a beaker, up to here water, from there oil, and then I am trying to take a look like this. Fine. So obviously because of the presence of these two liquids, refractive index is going to be different, so apparent depth is going to be different. So this is the idea of this problem. Very simple idea. Fine. Let me allow to draw a simple diagram over here. This is a beaker. This blue color is water, fine, up to height h1. And don't say that how can oil float on water. Oil always floats on water, okay. h1, unless and until your oil is of like different way. And then I think I should use red color. This oil is red color oil, fine. So this red color oil above the water, that is, let's say, for h2 height. But But obviously when my I think I am not a good designer, but I will try to create an I over here. This is the I, okay, I. So when I am watching, obviously this H2 is going to change for me, this H1 is going to change for me. So actually we want to find out what exactly this situation is, fine. And bottom means, if you have confusion about bottom, let's say a 5 rupee coin is placed over here. Okay, this 5 rupee coin is placed over here and we are just trying to watch this from the top like this. Actually, I would like to mention a very interesting concept over here. If we at any point of time you have visited any place where say for example a crystal clear water river is flowing and fishes are moving like that. If you just try to put your hands inside the water and try to pick a fish, never ever you will able. Reason being, your eyes are deciding as per the apparent depth, while the fish is at some different depth. So that's why you can't catch a fish using your hands, fine. And one bird, that is kingfisher, that bird knows physics much better than us. Just in one simple jump it can catch the fish directly, fine. So that way we are just trying to learn the physics, and in nature there are various birds and animals, they are much better position to understand the concept. So let's try to solve this problem, fine. I hope the diagram is clear to all of you. So what exactly the solution? Apparent shift of coin. Where is the coin? It's talking about bottom, but let's replace the bottom by coin. I think now visualization is more easy, fine. Apparent shift of coin at bottom. Apparent shift of coin at bottom due to now there are two things, due to number one H2O. This much chemistry I also know, why to use water. So apparent shift of coin at bottom due to number one H2O, fine. H2O means some refractive index mu1 is involved over here. So let's say the thickness is delta T1 for this H2O. Now this delta T is equal to, now this formula is mentioned in your NCERT book in the initial 1 or 2 pages. But honestly speaking, if you just stop the video over here, that's why I am not writing, and try to write down the formula yourself, don't mind it, but around 80% of you will not able to write down correctly. So one more lesson you should try to learn. Anything mentioned in NCERT books, consider it as a religious thing, fine, and learn it by heart. Delta T1 is equal to 1 minus 1 by mu1, refractive index of water, into H1, fine. Let's say this is equation number 1, okay. Now apparent shift of coin at bottom due to oil, okay. So I'm not going to write down the complete sentence, simply I am saying due to oil, okay, due to oil. Let's say it's delta T2, same formula. This is the beauty of this problem. So if once you are able to recall the formula, let's relax, we'll keep on writing, no problem. So 1 minus 1 upon is equal to 1 minus 1 upon mu2 into H2, that distance, fine. Let's say this is equation number 2. So what exactly the total shift? Simple, total shift is equal to delta T1 plus delta T2, delta T1 plus delta T2. I am not going to solve further because the solution is simple, 1 minus 1 upon mu1 into H1 and so on. Let's try to check the options over here. all these options. Just this first one is the correct option. Fine. Moreover, the beauty of this problem is, if you have the clarity of the concept, you need not to solve this problem. Just by look, you can say, okay, 1 minus 1 upon mu1 into actual height is the apparent change. Fine. So, plus, no, plus, no, not possible, plus, not at all. So, ultimately possible option is this one. So, actually this is the way. Just few days back we uploaded a video of guiding points about JEE Advanced exam. There we mentioned, you can say, intelligent approach of removing wrong answers. Fine. So, let us move ahead. This question was a very simple one, and over here we just tried to explain and understand this particular problem. Now, in this particular question, definitely I will not explain in detail. Reason: just before this, what I was explaining is something applicable over here. Listen how. Problem I will explain, solution I will mention only 2 lines, because detailed solution is a part of your study material. A concave mirror of radius 40 centimeter, normally students, on the basis of my own experience, I would like to mention, they consider this, read this, but start drawing the diagram of a lens. Please don't do these type of mistakes. Fine. Concave mirror of radius 40 centimeter lies on a horizontal table and water is filled in it up to a height of 5 centimeter. Fine. This is, and then this one basically your mirror, this is a table, and then water is filled. Fine. This line is showing you the water. A small dust particle floats on the water surface at point P. Actually, this point P is nothing but a small dust particle, or you can say a thermocol piece, something like that, is floating over here, because a coin can't float. Here the concept is slightly changed from that point of view. Vertically above the point of contact of the mirror with the table, locate the image of the dust or thermocol particle as seen from a point directly above it. Again, like this way I am watching. Fine. So, where I will able to find the image, that is something which I will have to decide. Fine. The refractive index of the water is 1.33. Fine. Few key points I will mention only, that is, concept of refraction is, I think, don't make this problem difficult. Concept of reflection, and make it slightly more complicated, refraction. Okay, I think now you will definitely enjoy. Concept of reflection is applied for detailed solution. You have that option of taking a look of our ebook. Fine. So, over here simply due to, and your catch word is, then this yellow and red line. Fine. Due to refraction. See, if after watching these questions, the best approach is stop the video, try yourself, then run the video, because I am there always, and then check your approach. Fine, that is the best way. So, due to refraction 11.67, simply using that concept, is equal to 1 minus 1.33. I not mentioned 1 minus 1 upon mu, then I am putting, directly I am putting the values. Over here it is the height. Just 2 minutes back I mentioned 1 minus 1 upon mu into h1 delta t. So, directly I am writing it. Fine. And ultimately when you solve it, you will get this apparent particle, the distance is 8.75 centimeter. Some of you definitely don't like this approach, but problem is, just before this problem I devoted very good amount of time. Now again re-explaining this phenomena is not advisable for a student who is preparing for JEE advanced category exam. At least you should put some efforts from your side. Don't keep on watching the solutions. Stop the video. Think, solve it, then match it. Ultimately, you have to learn. If I am explaining you 10,000 problems and if you are not learning, everything is meaningless. But if you are learning, then even 100 problems can solve the purpose. Fine? After this, here is your next beautiful problem. Now I change the track. Why? Actually, in continuation, we will keep on presenting questions in coming future to all of you. So it's going to be like question number 1 to 5, then 6 to 10, then 11 to 15, and so on, so forth. We want that we should provide a very good classic quality material to all of you. So here I change the track. Why? Question number 5 to 7, say for example, or you can say more or less, one or more than one options may be correct. Here it may possible either A is correct, B is correct, only C is correct, something like that. These questions are specifically asked in JEE advanced type paper, and over here the caution point is, let's say A and C is correct as per Indian Institute of Technology's governing body. But you are unable to find B, C, D. Don't mention about B, C, D anything. Simply mention A so that you can get half marks. If you mention it correct, it is incorrect, then you will get minus marks. So rather than minus, it's better to get 0.5 or 1 mark. Fine, this is also the strategy of this exam. So let's try to understand the problem. An equiconvex lens, beautiful diagram is in front of you, of refractive index N2 is placed such that the lens, which lens? This lens, must be diverging, converging, and so on so forth. Now, forget everything. Listen carefully, one sentence. What is the meaning of diverging? Diverging means concave or convex what? Converging means, so first thing, this question is going to check your understanding of the nature of the lens. Number 1, if you don't have the clarity, please stop over here, revise your concept, then come back to the problem. What exactly is required over here? Let's say N1 is something else, N2 is something else, N3 is something else. Okay, it means this lens is going to behave differently. Let's say this is water, this is glass, and this is honey. So obviously the nature is going to be different. Let's say this is honey, this is glass, this is water. Things are going to change. So this idea is what exactly the value of N1, N2 and N3, then how exactly the nature is changing. Here I'll only provide you some you can say context tips, not I will solve the entire problem, because this problem is not a numerical but it's a problem to check your conceptual clarity. Okay, let's try to understand. N2 upon, N2 means what? N2 means this refractive index of the lens. So N2 upon V1 minus, then which one term is coming? N1 upon U. Basically we are trying to write down the formula mu1 upon V minus mu2 upon V is equal to mu1 minus mu2 upon R. Fine. So N2 upon V1 minus N1 upon U is equal to N2 minus N1 upon R. Now what is the problem? Problem is we don't know N2 is more than N1 or N1 is more than N2. Fine. So if N1 is more than N2, minus sign. nature is changing. If N2 is less than N1, more than N1, positive sign, accordingly nature is changing. So you have to use this formula, and by repeated use of this result, what we will say, option A is correct, option B is correct, and option D is correct. But if you have the understanding of this nature, otherwise whatever I am saying is totally meaningless for you. So please, we are somehow forcing you to go for the revision process. Okay, let's try to read at least one option. Must be converging if N2 is greater than arithmetic means of N1 and N3. I formulated this problem. What is the meaning of arithmetic mean of N1 and N3? Being a mathematical approach, you can easily solve it. Similarly, over here, will neither be diverging nor converging if N2 is equal arithmetic mean of N1 and N3. So this question is just forcing you to go back to your basics. Well students, my suggestion is, we devoted very good amount of time. It was a big exercise for all of us. So let's stop over here, go through with these 5 problems. Very soon we will come back with the new very beautiful question sets, fine, and we will keep on doing the process again and again. Till then, take care of yourself, keep enjoying these discussions, keep revising, have a nice time.